The LinkedIn alert illuminated my iPad at 9:14 p.m. on a Friday. Your post has been successfully published. It was a generic system notification, normally the sort I'd ignore, but tonight it signaled 15 years of loyalty winnowing down to a single PDF. The only glow in the bedroom was from the screen as view counts began escalating. 1, then 10, then 45. My husband, Simon, was supposedly meditating at a silent digital detox retreat in Big Sur. No phones, no Wi-Fi, no outside contact, just you, your thoughts. Promised the brochure he'd left for me on the kitchen counter, but he had overlooked one significant detail. He forgot that for the past decade, I was more than merely his wife. I had been the architect behind his reputation, his crisis PR specialist, the designer of everything about his public image, every photo, thought leadership article, and LinkedIn status on ethical leadership. Moreover, I was the one who established two-factor authentication for his accounts. When his true self decided to splurge on a bottle of Dom Perignon and romantic turn-down service at the Four Seasons in downtown Chicago, 30 miles from where he was supposed to be finding himself, I didn't just receive a text, I got a play-by-play. And in his typical arrogance, he charged it all to the company Amex, the one tied to the publicly traded tech company for which he was CFO amidst mass layoffs, reducing excess to preserve profits. On my iPad, the LinkedIn post targeted to his 341 followers, all board members, investors, and journalists, sat awaiting its viral fate. Attached, invoice 490-2014, Four Seasons guest Simon Stone, additional guest Chloe Miller, age 24, the marketing intern. Charges $12, 450, refresh 112 views, 3 comments, most chillingly, a question mark from the chairman of the board. I sipped my wine. Simon was surely toasting himself right now, imagining he'd pulled off something brilliant, unaware that in less than 12 minutes, his entire career and world would vaporize. He sought a digital detox, but what he'd get tonight was digital annihilation. I'm Rebecca Stone, age 42, and I spent most of my adult life as a professional fixer. My old title at Stone & Co. was Director of Communications, back when Simon and I built our consultancy from nothing. After he became CFO at Ethgard Tech, he insisted I retire. We need to project stability, traditional values. The board likes that, he'd said as I buttoned his bespoke suit in the mirror. So I was repositioned as the wife, the philanthropist, the accessory at galas in couture, smiling as Simon accepted awards for visionary leadership, awards I nominated him for, essays I authored. We live in a sprawling, minimalist condo on Chicago's Lakeshore Drive, quiet luxury incarnate, with floor-to-ceiling windows, cold Italian marble, and artwork more valuable than my father's lifetime earnings. My late father, another PR professional old school, who believed in truth. If you spin lies too hard, the thread snaps. He warned before dying, broke but ethical, after refusing to whitewash a senator's scandal. Better be broke and clean than rich and dirty, he told me, squeezing my hand as his life faded. I didn't listen. At 27, fear of poverty made me hungry for usefulness, irreplaceability, a shield against the world. So I chose Simon not for love, but for raw potential. I remade him, upgraded his confidence, hired speech pathologists, styled him, trained him to email, built his brand. I crafted a persona so seamless no one saw the cracks, least of all Simon. When he landed the Ethgard CFO job, he cried in my arms, "You're my rock." I believed we were unbreakable, but I was wrong. The cracks widened not because of cliché lipstick on the collar indiscretions, but subtler shifts. Simon talked of alignment and synergy at home, fixated on biohacking and mindfulness. During dinner once, as he picked at his untouched plate, he said, "I need more presence. There's so much noise. I feel disconnected from the source." The source? You mean Wi-Fi? I joked. That's the cynicism I'm detoxing from. You're always so operational. I need fresh energy. Enter the intern mentorship program. Ethgard paired each executive with a Gen Z mentee to bridge generations. Simon was paired with Chloe, the luminous 24-year-old intern whose dress skirted HR guidelines. At the company holiday party, she greeted me with a wide smile and a handshake. Simon talks about you constantly. You're the engine that keeps it all moving. Not wife. Not partner, machinery. He's a great mentor, Chloe gushed. He's teaching me about ethical frameworks. That's not the only thing he's teaching you. I thought, watching Simon beam as Chloe talked. After that, mentoring ran late. She's struggling with projections. I need to help her with the pivot tables. Simon texted at 8 p.m., then crisis with interns buying late-night pizza at 10. Then I found new black silk boxers in his drawer. Simon, who's worn the same white cotton boxers for a decade. My executive coach recommended upgraded undergarments, self-image. He lied badly. He only called me Becky when lying. Dr. Aries, my therapist, calls it high-functioning anxiety. You anticipate disaster and it makes you a fantastic fixer, but it's exhausting. What if you let the disaster happen? She asked. Or maybe you'd see what survives when the dust settles. Simon's silent retreat was his idea. I need to reset for us, a better husband. He claimed as he left, promising not to check in before his return Tuesday. The first day alone was surprisingly calming. I ate spicy Thai takeout, drank the wine he'd call oki, and watched reality TV. But Friday night, my iPad pinged authorization, $2 $450, Four Seasons Hotel, Chicago. Simon was supposed to be 0 miles away, then $385 for room service, $150 for spa. The betrayal wasn't heartbreak, it was a collapse. Blood rushing from my head, I opened the Amex dashboard. Room 1402, Four Seasons, Chicago. I looked out over the city. My husband, local, dining on room service, almost certainly not alone. I wanted proof. As his former brand manager, I had master access to his iCloud, email, LinkedIn, Delta Sky Miles. His iPhone was off, but his journaling iPad was online. Location, 120 East Delaware, Four Seasons. Recent photos, champagne bottle, the presidential suite window, a selfie, Simon in black silk boxers, glass of champagne. Next to him, Chloe grinning in a white hotel robe, captioned mentorship session going well, work-life balance. I felt sick. He wasn't only cheating. He was mocking me, the company, weaponizing the corporate philosophies I'd ghost-written. He'd paid for it all with the company card. I checked receipts. Presidential suite, romance package, 2 orders of dinner, a special celebration cake, spa, all charged as strategic partnerships or employee retention. He'd fired staffers for expensing Uber rides. Now he was burning $12,000 on an affair with the company's money. I didn't cry, I strategized. Delving deeper, I uncovered flight logs. 3 weeks ago, San Francisco summit, companion ticket for Chloe. 2 months ago, New York, the Pierre Hotel, Chloe listed as a guest breakfast. The note marked kiwi allergy, hers, not his. This wasn't a single dalliance, this was systematic. I assembled evidence, screenshots of receipts, GPS logs, the selfie, email confirmations. In Illinois, dissipation of marital assets in divorce, especially using the company's money for a mistress, tipped settlements in my favor. But I wanted more than money. I wanted him to comprehend the cost of what he'd done. His persona, his legacy as an ethical leader, was my true leverage. I could have just confronted him or left printouts on his desk, but that would be emotional, and Simon never responded to emotion, only to PR fallout. His identity was his reputation, the brand image I'd built. Transparency is the currency of trust. His LinkedIn said, I wrote that line myself. So I decided to deliver transparency in public for everyone who mattered to Simon to witness. Before doing anything drastic, I called Sloan, my lawyer and college friend. If a C-suite exec uses a corporate card for a romantic getaway with a subordinate and gets fired, does that trigger the moral turpitude clause in the prenup? Sloan, ever the corporate shark, inhaled her nightly cigarette on speaker. Moral turpitude, sexual misconduct, financial fraud. Classic breach of duty. You get the house, the portfolio, probably punitive damages, depends how hard you play. Why? Simon's at the Four Seasons with Chloe on the company card. I replied, a low whistle. He thinks he's invincible. He isn't. If you have proof, you own him. Quiet destruction, nice settlement, move to Tuscany. I'm not going quiet, I said. He posted a selfie, smirking. So it's war, want me to draft the divorce papers? Do it, I replied. I'll manage the PR myself, but I wanted more. I called Hugo my retainer PI. I need visual confirmation, Four Seasons, room 1402. 18 minutes later, a video arrived. Room service delivery. Simon in the robe, Chloe behind him, giggling and holding a strawberry. Simon signs, door closes. You're an artist. I texted back to Hugo. I was ready. I logged into Simon's LinkedIn. I created the account a decade ago. Password, Rebecca Stone Forever 123. I started a post using the controlled, branded tone I'd crafted for him over years. Headline, The Cost of Doing Business, a Lesson in Transparency. Body, as leaders, we preach investment in the next generation, mentorship, and the importance of transparency. Sometimes that investment is $12, $450 spent at the Four Seasons presidential suite with our star intern, Chloe Miller. In the spirit of radical transparency, here's where Ethelgard Tech's Q1 austerity savings are going. Note the romance package line item, essential for synergy, to the board. Is this client acquisition or employee retention? I attached the PDF of the hotel receipt, the selfie of Simon and Chloe in robes, tagging the CEO, the board chairman, the three largest investors, and the Wall Street Journal's tech editor. I hovered over post. Dr. Aries called it anticipating disaster. I thought, I am the disaster. I clicked. 9 a.m. Monday would have been strategic, but 9:14 p.m. Friday was perfect for viral impact. Executives sneaking peeks at phones during events, the chairman midway through a whiskey. Within 4 minutes, the board saw it. David Sterling, the CEO, commented, Simon, please call me immediately. What is this? A lay-off employee replied, wait, isn't Chloe that intern? I got fired yesterday to save costs and he's drinking Crystal. Reactions poured in, shocked faces, funny GIFs, reposts. By 9:25, my actual phone rang. Simon's assistant, Rebecca, is Simon okay? Has he been hacked? I responded flatly, his digital detox retreat, remember? I saw the post. He can't be reached. The board's called an emergency meeting, going to be a busy week. I hung up. The LinkedIn comments kept coming, recruiters, ex-employees, journalists, even randoms joining in. Industry veterans tagged each other. Is this the future of retention bonuses? The corporate decapitation was swift and merciless. At 9:45, the board's LinkedIn profile viewed mine. Then the chairman, Alastair, called. I assume you're aware of the situation. Yes, I said. If you mean my husband expensing a sexual liaison, yes. Did you post it? Yes. You realize this shreds the company's stock price. It'll recover. You'll look like heroes for acting fast. The only thing destroyed is Simon. He paused, realizing I was right. He's unhireable after this. I know. He signed a prenup with an infidelity clause. If he cheats, I keep the condo and 80% of our assets. If he's fired for moral turpitude, I get full spousal support based on potential earnings. You'll fire him tonight for cause. We're cutting him loose. Alastair said, impressed and disturbed. Security will deactivate his badge tonight. The press release goes out in 20 minutes. No resignation. Termination for cause. Smart move, I replied. Stock would stabilize by Tuesday. You're terrifying. Alastair whispered, almost admiringly. Just transparent, Alastair. Good night. The rest unspooled with the detached clarity of a crisis I'd foreseen and orchestrated. I poured myself a third glass of wine and watched Simon's LinkedIn post run rampant. Headhunters began circling, tagging other CFO with morbid curiosity. Open slot. One posted, linking to Ethgard's career portal. The real-time destruction of a reputation drove viral engagement in a way calculated virtue never could. By 10:00 p.m., digital wolves were feasting. One former employee, long since laid off by Simon for unprofitable energy, wrote, Couldn't expense an extra $20 for lunch, but he could expense romance sweets. Cool, cool. A tech industry columnist tweeted Ethgard Tech somehow just ran a masterclass in what not to do for mentorship. The stone has crumbled. Someone on Reddit posted a screenshot. Threads erupted dissecting every transaction on the PDF. The world Simon worked so ruthlessly to curate had become a case study in Greek tragedy, hubris, nemesis, public spectacle. He was eulogized before he'd even seen the post, and the best part, he couldn't see any of it in real time. He was still finding himself at 11:40 p.m. Ethgard's PR released a statement. Ethgard Tech reaffirms commitment to ethical leadership. Simon Stone is no longer employed by the company. We do not tolerate impropriety at any level. The market reacted even before it opened. Futures jolted. By Saturday morning, Simon's name trended through business social media. Never a good sign for a C-suite officer. The Four Seasons, ever discreet, froze Simon's room charges by midnight. His corporate Amex was dead at 7:00 a.m. The staff knocked on his suite, not for breakfast, but to inform him the credit card was declined and to ask him to visit the front desk. By the time he powered on his phone, the carnage struck, a tsunami of missed calls, text messages, news alerts, and a wall of emails from every stakeholder who mattered. He called me at 7:15 a.m. He was out of cleverness, out of defenses, back to the raw, anxious man I'd once picked out for his pliable potential, Rebecca. He blurted, his tone cracking, "What's happening? Everyone's saying my account posted LinkedIn. My phone, it says I posted it." "Was it a hack? I posted it, Simon." I said, voice measured, silence, slow realization, then a hiss. "What? You posted ID, the receipts, Chloe, tagging the board, the photos. You destroyed everything. Do you understand? I'm ruined my career, my reputation. I am unhireable. There's no us left, Simon, not since you redefined partnership in the presidential suite with a 24-year-old intern." He stammered for rationale. "It was a mistake. We were blowing off steam. You didn't have to, Rebecca. My whole life's gone. You destroyed me. Transparency is the currency of trust." "Isn't that your mantra?" I replied. Panic edging toward belligerence, he snapped. "I'm coming home. We'll fix this. You'll issue a retraction, say it was a hack, say you were drunk or off your meds. We can spin this. A hacker. With PDF receipts, your signature, your LinkedIn." I scoffed. "You paid for a celebration cake. What were you celebrating, Simon?" My humiliation. He tried to pivot. "It meant nothing. Just a body. You're my soulmate. You built me. I did build you," I said coldly, "and now I'm decommissioning you. There's nothing to fix. Since you committed corporate fraud as well as infidelity, the prenup's infidelity clause applies. I keep the house, the bulk of our assets. Also, you might want to talk to your lawyer before coming here. The auditors will want to see your travel logs. Oh, and I canceled your Uber. The bus is very mindful this morning." He tried one last time, his voice stripped raw. You, that's Miss Stone to you." I ended. The line went dead. I blocked his number before he could try again. Within hours, Ethgard's legal team finished the paperwork. My lawyer delivered the notice to Simon at his hotel where, mortifyingly, he was still trying to check out with his depleted corporate card. Security changed his home access code. The locks were rekeyed. When he returned, sweating, desperate, and sleep deprived, movers had already boxed up what little he'd be allowed to keep. Alistair, acting CEO, called me for comment. I kept my responses measured and professional. The company acted swiftly. Leadership transitions are always challenging, but transparency is a value we uphold. Simon tried mounting a nominal defense, the old reckless social engineering hack rumor, but I'd included too much documentation. The audit trails were conclusive. Even if he'd claimed hacking, it would only reinforce his incompetence rather than innocence. By Sunday, the ripples had reached the financial press. Editorials dissected the event, both the affair and the $12 for $150 in mentorship expenses, the HR nightmare of power imbalance, and the breathtaking collapse in a single weekend of what had taken a decade to build. Business school students began referencing the Stone incident as a case study in catastrophic leadership failure. Chloe, once the star intern, went on paid administrative leave While compliance investigated her role, she told HR, according to someone who leaked transcripts, that Simon promised her career mentorship and thoughtful progression. When it became clear he couldn't help and was, in fact, poison to her resume, she vanished, deleting all social media except for a rebranded Instagram showing her drinking espresso in Dubai, sponsored by a crypto exchange. Within a fortnight, she had moved on to a new guiding mentor. Simon was terminated officially for cause, with immediate forfeiture of his unvested options and bonuses. Under the moral turpitude clause, my claim to our home, portfolio, and spousal support was ironclad. He was shut out of every professional network that formerly fawned over him, couldn't get interviews, let alone offers. His only reference became a cautionary tale. I watched the unraveling as if from above. The LinkedIn post was screenshotted, memed. Someone even started a mentorship package, cocktail at a local bar, which trended briefly on TikTok. The moment was immortalized as I'd expected in modern office folklore. I moved on efficiently. Lawyers handled the divorce, which was swift, irretrievable. Breakdown, ample evidence, no contest. I retained our condo major assets and entered new contracts as head of the rebranded Stone Crisis Management Group, now based on the 42nd floor across from Ethgard's offices, a view I chose deliberately. The new office pulsed with forward energy. My assistant Felix, a Harvard graduate, razor sharp, greeted me every morning. Wall Street Journal interview. At 10, Miss Stone, they want to talk about the art of the pivot. Got the flowers for Alistair's retirement, white lilies, note from an admirer of transparency. Perfect. Book me 5 minutes to prep. Looking out over the city, I occasionally noticed a figure below. A man in a worn suit, once cut by my stylist, now lost inside his frame. Simon, my project, whittled to mediocrity, now a junior consultant at a nondescript firm in the suburbs. Chloe was gone, her mentorship plans outpaced his available income. She was Instagramming from Malta, then Dubai. Simon stood on the street below, looking up at this new office as if seeking a version of himself I had long since decommissioned. He was invisible, a lesson, not an adversary any longer. He had his reputation destroyed not by an enemy but by his architect. The school case studies began with his rise and focused on the downfall engineered from inside his own house. I didn't feel anger or even grim satisfaction, just efficiency. I remembered my father's advice, the one thing he recited in his dying breath: if you polish glass, it cuts you in the end. He was right, Simon had cut, but I learned to hold the knife more cleanly. The world kept moving. Clients leaned in, board members sought advice, Felix booked PR interviews. My group was thriving, summoned with ever more zeros. Rescue and shield powerful people, not always men, not always agreeable, from the disasters of their own invention. On lunch breaks, news alerts occasionally reminded me of the viral crescendo, now faded into legacy. A recruiter once called. Rebecca. Simon applied for a junior audit job at a satellite office. Any reason not to consider him? I replied professionally. Just review his public portfolio. All the transparency you'll ever need. Simon was never called back. The art world requested the infamous LinkedIn post for their digital scandals exhibit at the Chicago Museum of Social Media. I agreed with the stipulation it be red-idled. Transparent exit, 9:14 p.m., Rebecca Stone. That post became a cultural footnote, business schools, corporate seminars, leadership ethics roundtables. Transparency goes both ways. I lectured, standing next to the bright blue screen that had detonated a career. Sometimes clients would ask, how did you know it would work? I'd smile, hi. Functioning anxiety has its uses. I plan for the disaster, sometimes I am the disaster. 2 years after the LinkedIn event, the world had changed. The term stone executions entered HR lingo, meaning the rapid public severance of toxic executives via irrefutable documentation. I occasionally received letters from women, some grateful, some seeking advice, many simply wanting to know the formula for survival after betrayal. I would always say, don't try to emotion a narcissist, document him, then outlast him. Simon's last act was to view my LinkedIn profile from a new account, burner email, generic avatar, still checking, still hoping. As ever, I blocked him. With that, the last receipt was filed, the last window closed. The city glistened below, silent except the distant hum of ambition and downfall. A life cut clean, a future unwinding. I set down my coffee, muted my phone. Went to work, crises needed managing. Mornings demanded precision, and I was living proof. Survival wasn't luck, it was strategy. The end